Have you ever cried silently, tried to appear strong to everyone, while inside your soul was weary, your mind confused, and your heart begging for help? Have you ever felt like no one really noticed the pain you carry every day? Because sometimes the worst kind of suffering isn't the one that shows on the outside, but the one a person learns to hide so well that no one imagines what they're going through. And maybe that's exactly how you're feeling right now. Perhaps you clicked on this video looking for just a distraction, but God didn't bring you here by chance. There's a reason you're listening to this message right now. And what you're about to discover may surprise you. Because while many people around you only see your smile, God saw every tear you shed in silence. He saw the nights you tried to sleep, but anxiety wouldn't let you. He saw the thoughts you never dared to tell anyone. He saw the emotional weight you've been carrying alone. And even when it seemed like heaven was silent, God was still watching over you. Many people believe they need to hide their emotions to appear strong. We learn to respond, everything is fine, even when our hearts are crumbling inside. We learn to smile while our souls are weary. And little by little, silent suffering becomes part of the routine. Have you ever experienced this? Have you ever felt that no one would understand what is really happening inside you? Because the truth is that there are pains that words cannot explain. There are emotional wounds that no one sees. But God sees. The Bible shows many times that God draws near precisely to those who are broken inside, people who have cried in secret, people who have lost their strength, people who have thought about giving up. And perhaps today you are experiencing exactly one of those moments. Perhaps there's a battle raging inside your mind right now. Perhaps you are emotionally exhausted, tired of fighting, tired of waiting for an answer, tired of trying to stay strong all the time. But stay with me until the end, because this message may be exactly what your soul needed to hear today. Do you know what's most impressive? Often, when we think God is distant, it's precisely in those moments that He is working silently, even when you don't realize it, even when nothing seems to change, even when tears fall and no one is around. God never ignores a wounded heart. He never despises someone who is suffering in silence. And perhaps that's a reminder you needed to receive today. You have not been forgotten. Perhaps you've begun to believe that your pain doesn't matter. Perhaps disappointments have made you think that God has stopped listening to your prayers. But let me tell you something with all sincerity. God knows emotions that no one else can see. He knows the fear hidden behind your smile. He knows the emptiness that appears in the middle of the night. He knows the mental exhaustion that you try to ignore every day. And yet, He remains near. There are people watching this video right now who are at their emotional breaking point. People who are trying to keep going, even when they have no strength left. People who feel alone, even when surrounded by others. And maybe one of them is you. Maybe there's something inside your heart asking for hope again. Because deep down, all someone who is emotionally exhausted wants is to feel that there's still a reason to keep going. And it is precisely here that many people begin to realize something powerful, because there are times when God uses even a simple message to touch a wounded soul and remind it of something that should never be forgotten. And perhaps the proof of that is the fact that you are still here, listening to every word of this message. Because when a weary soul finds something that deeply touches a heart, there is a reason. Maybe you've spent too much time trying to deal with everything alone, trying to hide the pain, try and pretend everything was okay. But God knows the truth that exists within you. And I believe that many people watching this video right now also understand exactly that feeling. Therefore, I want to ask you something very sincere. If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment below with what has touched your heart the most so far. It can be just a phrase. It can be a God is still with me. It can be a testimony, a prayer request, or even something you never had the courage to tell anyone. Because sometimes, when someone shares their pain, another person realizes they are not alone. And perhaps your comment is exactly the message someone needed to read today. And if this message is already speaking to you in some way, please like this video. It seems simple, but your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people who are suffering in silence right now. People who may be hopeless, emotionally exhausted, needing to hear that God still sees every hidden tear. When you like this video, you help this message reach hearts that perhaps no one else can reach. And if you feel that content like this strengthens your faith, calms your mind, and brings you closer to God, subscribe to the channel now. Because here, each message is designed precisely to remind you of something that many people have forgotten amidst life's pains. God remains near, even on the most difficult days. And I truly believe that the next few minutes of this message can touch something even more deeply within you. Because there's a detail about silent suffering that almost no one notices. And it's precisely there that many people begin to understand why God allows certain pains, certain silences, and certain waiting periods in our lives. Now I want to delve even deeper into the subject, because there's a hidden truth about emotional pain that few people can perceive. Often, humans learn to survive by hiding what they feel. The person continues working, continues smiling, continues talking normally, but inside, a silent battle is raging every day. And perhaps that's exactly your reality right now. Maybe you're tired of carrying heavy thoughts without being able to explain them to anyone. Maybe your mind is overwhelmed by worries, fear of the future, anxiety, disappointments, and a constant feeling of loneliness that no one around you can fully understand. The hardest thing about silent suffering is that it almost never appears visibly. There are people who only cry when they are alone. People who have lost the will to talk. People who go to sleep tired and wake up even more tired. And little by little, the heart grows heavy. Faith begins to weaken. Hope seems distant. And without realizing it, the person begins to believe that dangerous lie that they have been abandoned by God. But there's something you need to remember today. Human silence is not silence to God. Just because no one notices your pain doesn't mean God isn't seeing it. The Bible shows this all the time. God has never ignored sincere tears. He has never ignored a broken heart. He has never despised someone who is emotionally exhausted. In Psalm 34 verse 18, the word says that the Lord is near to the brokenhearted. This means that in the moments when you feel weakest, God is closer than you imagine. Perhaps you've asked yourself, if God is with me, why am I going through all this? And that's one of the deepest questions on the spiritual journey. Because nobody likes to live through periods of silence, waiting, or emotional turmoil. But often, it's precisely in these invisible backstage areas that God begins a transformation that the person cannot yet see. Not all delays mean abandonment. Not all silence means absence. There are times when God works in the deepest areas of a person's mind, heart, and mentality before changing the circumstances around them. Think about how many times you made decisions trying to quickly escape pain. How many times have you tried to fill the emotional void with distractions, the wrong people, or excessive worry? But some pains don't disappear because they carry important revelations about what needs healing within us. And God knows exactly the areas of your life that are wounded right now. He knows hidden thoughts that no one else sees. He knows the nights you almost gave up. He knows the times you prayed silently, not knowing what else to say. And you know what's most powerful about all this? The Bible is full of people who went through exactly this kind of emotional suffering. Hannah cried so much before God that the people around her didn't understand her pain. David wrote Psalms while facing fear, persecution, and deep sadness. Job lost almost everything, and yet continued trying to understand God's plans amidst suffering. Elijah, even being a spiritually strong man, reached the point of asking to give up his own life because of emotional exhaustion. This shows something very important. Even strong people go through moments of inner darkness. Perhaps you grew up believing that feeling fear, anxiety, or sadness was a sign of weak faith. But the truth is, God never asks you to pretend to be strong all the time. God wants sincerity. He wants you to talk to him, even on days when your mind is confused. Even on days when you don't have the strength to pray properly. Because a sincere prayer, made in the midst of pain, still has value in God's eyes. And perhaps this message is appearing to you today precisely because your soul needed this reminder. Perhaps God brought you here to interrupt negative thoughts that were consuming your hope, to remind you that your story is not yet over, to show you that there is purpose even in the difficult phases of life. And although much seems confusing now, there are processes happening in the invisible realm that you cannot yet fully understand. Therefore, when you feel you can't take it anymore, don't turn away from God. Even without strength, keep talking to him. Even emotionally exhausted, keep taking small steps. Rest your mind. Breathe. Don't carry everything alone. There are people who have lost hope because they have held too much pain in their hearts for too long. But today God wants to remind you of something powerful. Your pain has not nullified the purpose of your life. You are still here, and that means your journey is still being written. Perhaps today you can't clearly see the reason for everything you're experiencing, but there are changes happening within you that will have a much greater impact than you imagine. And sometimes, it's precisely after the quietest moments that God begins the greatest transformations in someone's life. Comment below, God knows my pain. Perhaps, after everything you've heard today, the greatest truth that needed to stay in your heart is this: God was never far from your pain. Even on the days you cried silently, even on the nights when no one noticed the weight inside you, God was there, watching, caring, sustaining you until now, even when it seemed impossible to continue. Sometimes, a single message can change the direction of someone's thoughts. It can bring back hope. It can remind a weary person that they still have value, still have a purpose, still have a story being written by God. And I believe there are people watching this video right now who needed to hear exactly that today. If this message resonated with you in any way, write in the comments, God has not forgotten me. I really want to read what you felt listening to this message until the end. And perhaps your comment will also strengthen someone who is going through a silent battle right now. If this video brought peace to your heart, please give it a like. This helps this message continue reaching people who need to rediscover hope, faith, and direction during difficult times. And if you want to continue receiving content like this, messages that strengthen your faith, your mind, and your walk with God, you can subscribe to the channel. Because here, each video is made to remind you of something important. You are never alone on this journey. There's a video here that complements this message very well and might touch your heart even more deeply. Click on it and continue watching